Today I have the great pleasure of speaking with Keith Rushbrook from the Republic of 2x4. Republic of 2x4 and Arconas recently collaborated on our latest and greatest seating line known as Hopscotch. And today I get to talk to at least half of the design team. Unfortunately, Dan Mentions can't join us today, but if at least half the design team who can talk a little bit about the inspiration behind the product and how it's come to fruition. So thanks for joining me today, Keith.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Great. So tell me a little bit, first let's talk about Republic of 2x4.
Okay, great.
Tell me a little bit about your company and its history and its its focus on design.
Sure. Republic of 2x4. Well, let me start with our parent company, our sister company, the big company called 2x4 Design. 2x4 is 30 years old. We've been doing luxury interiors for corporate, commercial, transportation, cruise lines, retail, residential. And we've been designing product. We've been doing beautiful interiors. And as we've been working through this process and doing product, doing wall covering, doing furniture, we always thought it'd be a really great companion company to develop product. So Republic of 2x4 was bred out of that knowledge and experience almost 10 years ago. And we formed Republic of 2x4. Dan and I started the company, working with some really amazing industrial designers that we have on our team as well. And we began this journey.
So let's talk a little bit about our new product that we've collaborated on, Hopscotch.
Sure.
A little bit of an unusual name. So I'm really curious to hear a little bit about the inspiration for the name and its relevance to the various pieces.
For sure. Well, hopscotch, hopscotch for us really takes us back to those childhood moments, those playful memories. And if you look at a hopscotch game, a board with the shapes, and as we're developing this, we're like, oh my gosh, it's like a game of hopscotch. And then came the name of hop, of surge, of beacon as well. Mm-hmm. And it just became this very whimsical, playful line, and how this can be configured and add a sense of elegance, but also a sense of playfulness within the landscape of an interior. This is the first piece that we did, the bench, the hop. It took many different shapes. It was an evolution, but the simplicity, the timelessness for us was incredibly important. The proportions, the balance, the line, and just this shape. You look at the end of that, mm-hmm. and really
I love those tapered lines.
Thank you. And for us, it had to be classic, timeless, practical, usable, approachable. And that's one thing when we were doing this, and that's where hopscotch can sit beautifully in a space. It's approachable from every side, and that was one of the other things as we were working on this, and looking at when someone is sitting on it and the angle of the leg that someone's sitting. The other part that was really important was the metal base.
Yes.
For maintenance, cleanliness, durability. We also love the fact, if it's a high polished aluminum finish, the reflection, it almost looks like it's floating. We also know that we've also done it in black, so it has this shadow line to it. We also, when we were doing this, looking at the width, because we also wanted, you didn't only have to sit on it straight, we also wanted the width that you could straddle it.
Hmm.
So if you want to work suitcases, you sitting, with COVID, and that's was a really cool part of this process. This was all designed pre-COVID,
Yes. Well,
but
things take time to go through the development process.
but what's fantastic is what has come out of this is the cleanability factor, the maintenance, easy clean, lack of seams. There's no place for bacteria, dirt, germs, blah, 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 all that to hide. So it just becomes a really monolithic but incredibly clean piece. So we went through a bunch of options and looking at, where power could go on the face, on the ends, and if we're trying to gang this together, the ends didn't work, face didn't work if we're spilling or someone's kicking it. So then became Surge. And Surge on its own is this beautiful little power tower, this element. And so that was piece number two. And then we got looking at how people sit, how people work, how people function, how hop can be broken down into elements. And Surge became a really important part of this line. This was piece number two. So when you put Surge next to hop, one thing we really, really loved about this was now if you're sitting on it, it becomes an armrest. It becomes a place that you can put your laptop, you can work on it. You can straddle it now. You can use it to divide space, which we also love in this COVID world. We're all looking for ways, interesting and clever ways to divide space. For people who travel, they typically have two things and sometimes three pieces that need to be plugged in: a personal phone, a work phone, a laptop, or it's an iPad. But typically it's minimum two, sometimes three. We also made sure we had plenty of power, so depending on which side of a hop bench you were sitting on or straddling, that the element of sharing became your own personal space.
So tell me a little bit about piece number three, because this is really interesting for me, because this is a new foray for Arconas. We've never kind of gone into this type of product category before, so I'm quite excited about this, the piece number three of the collection.
So I'm just going to pull this back here.
Okay.
So piece number one, hop, the bench, first conceived. We knew we needed power, so Surge. And then we also, knowing in the landscape of airports, of public seating, of transportation hubs, we knew we needed some element to draw the eye, to catch the eye, and that's where Beacon came in. It also brings in one thing we love, is this residential quality to it, of this very soft, warm, glowing light. We also love, if you're just doing a hop, Beacon, and another hop, you start to create spaces, your individual space, and it just became this beacon element. So in this landscape of these moments of pause, these moments of quiet, these moments of warmth. So that's where Beacon for us became a really, really, really special piece, as not an add-on and not an afterthought, but just this element that just really gives, like, I can't say it enough, but just beauty and warmth. But then looking at the lines, if we line all of those up, those lines just carry, from hop to Surge to
Lovely.
Beacon. So all of those, really understanding the interior element to the industrial design element, and just beautiful, classic, very, very, very clean lines. One thing another thing I think we really need to talk about is the power. How we, working again because of 2x4 design and all of the work that we've done, including office design, it's understanding raceways, understanding that we need to get power if in a retrofit situation, how we can have the maximum footprint to accommodate for power to run through the system as well. So the top and the base, they're two separate. Fortunately, I can't take this apart. But the bottom, there's a raceway that runs through the bottom with an opening on either end that allows power to connect through. So this can be, the collection can be placed anywhere over a power source. And so it doesn't, you can set it on one end and connect all the way through, which is fantastic.
So no exposed cables, everything is concealed.
It's all super magic on the bottom.
So how do you see Hopscotch, say, interacting with other types of furniture, and how you can blend, like how you see this as a blending of
sure.
types, I guess?
And the one thing, how we see Hopscotch fitting into how it's incorporated into another furniture grouping. The one thing we love about this is the component aspect. If you just take Hop by itself, how Hop can become, a beautiful bench, and then you can incorporate seating and coffee tables with it. So it becomes a very transitional piece, I guess you could say, a very classic element. Mm-hmm. Then if you take that away, you put serge in, well, this can become a really beautiful piece that sets between other loose furniture, like loose chairs, and that be, whether there's swivel or something like that, or at the end of a beam seating area, you can have a serge element. So that can be, easily incorporated to, applications for this are endless. It's just the creative mind to think where Hop can be incorporated as a single side, double side, multi-side, multifunctional. You put one thing to really love, you put some other little coffee tables, some little tiny side tables, and this becomes a great little cafe component.
Oh, absolutely. With retail, I see it with
absolutely. So this became a very, very special piece. We're always looking for power. So this is another very easily specified piece. And then with Beacon, just think of this as a really beautiful contemporary floor lamp element. So again, you put this in with the sofa seating, grouping, some modular lounge waiting, at the gate, and then you have this beautiful residential soft warm beacon, this glow. So, and that's one thing we really love about this, how they're strong as a group, but as individuals they also are incredibly strong. So,
well, I find the line is very deceivingly simple, in the sense that it looks like that it's a very simple collection of pieces, but the amount of options and configurations and it's quite incredible, and it is deceivingly simple. So I just want to commend you on that principle and that design. I think it gives designers a lot of freedom to get really creative and express their own vision of a space. So that's terrific.
Lynn, you bring up a really good point. I know it's, we're talking about it in a row, but if you start changing the way these elements go at a 90 degree angle, you can start to have a lot of fun with the way the forms can zigzag across the floor plan. Mm-hmm. The way you can create these U-shaped forms to create very intimate moments as well, that can be flanked with the beacons and incorporate power So if you have a little nook, a little niche, a little area that you want to have something a little more quiet, a little more calm, then that can happen as well. Or you can have this very dynamic, energetic line running through a space as well.
Now, lastly, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, we talked about how designers can be inspired, can use the product to create a vision or an inspiration through configuration, but there's also a great opportunity through finishes. So
Right.
we have, you have this, really the sky's the limit
Great
with
point.
upholsteries and the, color and so maybe you could tell us a little bit about, 'cause the product to me looks so different, whether it's done in like a kind of like a more natural hide or is some bright colors, but I really love that contrasting stitching too, the detailed stitching. So maybe tell me a little bit about that finishing touch that you see with the product.
That's one thing we love about this, how colored and the detail, as you mentioned, Lynn, about the contrast
I love that contrasting stitching.
stitching on the very end. The stitching was really inspired by a beautiful handcrafted whether it's a bespoke bag or a beautiful handmade shoe, a beautiful belt with that handmade
Luxury
stitching.
car.
Yeah, luxury,
Yes,
of course.
luxury, yes.
And Arconas does that beautifully. And but you do it in a leather, or you do it in a vinyl, or you do it in a fabric. It completely changes
Entirely.
the look and feel, the materiality, the how culture and fabric and the simplicity of the form. It can go anywhere depending on the materiality. You do it all in black, or you do it in this beautiful, almost like a hand stitched, or a beautiful hand dyed leather with the beautiful bespoke stitching on it, and it just really changes the look and feel of it, depending on the application.
Well, thank you very much
My
for
pleasure.
joining me today. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you a little bit about this, and I can't tell you how excited we are to see this product finally. We've seen it over the last, year and a half or so, 2 years, sort of in its iteration now. To finally see it launch is very exciting, and looking forward to seeing this in terminals around the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn.
I really
Absolute
appreciate
pleasure.
your time. Okay.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care. You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay,
See you.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.